Welcome to Britain's Naughtiest Nursery.
What happened?
The last resort for exhausted parents and their tiny terrors. It's been set up to tackle the behaviour of some of the UK's most challenging children, aged 5 and under.
The parents are coming to this nursery at their wits' end. They feel as if their lives are being torn apart by their children's behaviour and that there's nowhere else to turn.
A team of experts and specialist teachers will be working with the parents to try and change the lives of these unruly kids. Enrolling today, Lottie, Kaysen,
Hello, you all right?
and Louis. But this is no ordinary nursery. Many of the children have been sent home or had serious problems at their own nursery. Here, psychologists and specialist teachers work with the pupils and their parents.
What's that one?
Their aim, to analyse behaviour and come up with an individual plan to turn their lives around. It's headed up by child psychologist Laverne Antrobus.
We want to get to the bottom of why these children feel so out of control and give their parents the support they need to change this behaviour.
Laverne runs the nursery with the help of clinical psychologist Jess Elmer.
I think this is a great space for the children to come. Lots of interesting things for the children to do, but it will be a challenge for the children. It's a new situation for them.
Do you want to come and do some colouring, Louis, and drawing? Be careful.
4-year-old Louis has been brought to the nursery because he's constantly lashing out when he doesn't get exactly what he wants.
Enough. Enough. His anger scares me. Stop. Sometimes I don't know what to do because I can't stop him just now when he's angry. Get your hands off my neck right now.
Louis lives in Glasgow with his mum Julie and sister Holly.
Excuse me.
Dad Guy lives down the road and visits daily.
He always gets what he wants.
Do you want Mummy to order you some pizza? No!
Julie gives in to him, and I don't. I just point blank say no.
I want that.
You can get that for them.
Do you know what? You can have the ice cream, okay? But I want you to promise me if we go to the chip shop later, you pick something to eat. Yeah?
5 minutes later, he'll walk up with the thing I says not to give him. Really does my head in.
Louis demands constant attention and is on the go all day.
It's not playtime anymore, it's dinner time.
He's supposed to attend a nursery in Glasgow, but Mum Julie struggles to get him there.
He's supposed to be there 4 days a week. You'd be lucky if he was there 1 or 2. Meltdowns, didn't want to go, didn't want to walk there. Just point blank, just didn't want to go.
Back in the nursery, it hasn't taken long for Louis to show his aggressive side. Desperate to get his own way, he refuses to share his toy and a tussle breaks out.
What's happened? Come on then, let's go and see. Okay. I know that must have really hurt. What would you like Louis to do?
Give me the ball.
Before he gives you the ball? Oh, Louis, is that kind? Right, Louis, what I'd like you to do now is I'd like this ball. And I'm going to take this ball and I'm going to give it to Frankie. Good boy, Frankie. You need to have a little think now, okay?
As often happens at home, by throwing a tantrum, Louis manages to get his own way.
Can I have a big hug? I think you are so special. Come and say thank you. Come and say sorry. Oh, kind. Just say thank you, Frankie. Thanks. Give him a high five. Give Frankie a high five. Good boy. Good choice.
Now Laverne wants to meet with Louis's parents separately to get some background on his behaviour. First up is Julie.
What you're having to manage is quite difficult behaviour.
Yeah, Louis doesn't stop. When he's angry, he can't calm down, so I started letting Louis, I suppose I let him hurt me because at the time I didn't want him hurting himself. Stop! Enough. Stop. But now it's just, he thinks it's okay to hit me. Stop it. And I suppose that's my fault because I wanted him to do it to me instead of hurting him, but he's getting bigger every day. He's getting stronger, and when he's angry, it's sore.
Next, Laverne wants to talk to Louis's dad, Guy, about his biggest concerns.
In the house, he's either hitting me, his mum or his little sister, just every single day.
How do you respond? How do you...
Oh, his mum tells me not to get him into trouble, so I just trying to ignore him.
Okay.
And let her deal with it.
What do you feel would be another way of managing it if it was left to you? If Julie wasn't stepping in?
I'm not 100%, but I'd be a bit more stricter.
So in a way, you have to step back.
Yeah, I need to step back all the time.
Okay.
And let her deal with everything.
Okay. And how does that feel?
It feels hard, it feels as if I'm not supposed to be there.
Yeah. Parents really need to work together and mirror each other's parenting styles, and this is something we're going to have to work on with Julie and Guy.
Come on then, Kason, it's your turn.
In the classroom, the children are all gathered on the carpet with Teacher Jules for a game of What's in the Box.
Come on then, let's have a look in that box and see what's in there. What you got?
All except Lottie, that is. 3-year-old Lottie has already been forced to leave one nursery because of her daredevil behaviour.
No! No!
Right, straight across the road. In the house now. I was getting called, to pick Lottie up maybe once, twice, 3 times a week.
No, it's dangerous. No.
She was a danger to herself and a danger to others.
What, darling?
Mum Joanne has had to give up work to keep a constant eye on Lottie's dangerous behaviour.
Get down. I don't get a minute. And basically I need eyes all around her. No, you get down.
She's worried about how Lottie will cope when she goes to school.
She doesn't care about consequences. You can take her away from the situation and she'll just go back and do exactly the same thing.
You.
Get down.
Right, I want to make tea. No, stop it.
Yeah, she doesn't care.
Lottie also has an extensive vocabulary.
I say the F word a lot.
You shouldn't say the F word, should you? She'll mouth it to me. Oh, don't let her. She'll pretend to count.
2.
And stick the fingers up.
No.
She knows exactly what she's doing. When you've got a child who just doesn't listen,
No. No.
you think, what have I done wrong? What have I done wrong?
I'll put this down.
Unsurprisingly, in the nursery, Lottie is struggling to keep her feet on the ground.
No.
Uh-oh, another turn going to be missed. You'll go then, Louis? You're sitting so beautifully, it's your turn. Louis' turn, that's going to go back. Lottie's going to miss a turn because she was messing about with her furniture. What a shame. Your turn.
But even with the threat of missing the fun, Lottie can't help but keep exploring.
Sit down. Good boy.
Laverne calls Joanne in to find out how Lottie's behaviour is affecting the family.
You and your husband, how do you manage that between you?
It's hard, because it's like when he comes home from work, I'm I'm like stressed.
Yeah.
I'm on top note. I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely exhausted with it all.
And is the exhaustion the sort of constant worry, but the sort of watching you have to do? I mean, it sounds like you have to be almost behind her.
Yeah, you do. She's constantly thinking of things to do, I think. I don't know. She's just constantly doing things.
Yeah, so she's constantly on the move. She's sort of constantly seeking some sort of, I don't know, contact with the sort of way in which she feels, I suppose, when she's up high.
I'm worried that she's, like I say, she's going to hurt herself one day. You know, and if she does hurt herself, then...
Yeah. I mean, it feels like a real struggle to really get to what it is that what's driving her in this behaviour. It doesn't... So I'll have to keep an eye on her over the next few days just to see if there's any sense from what I'm seeing, you know, what it's rewarding her with. Joanne is desperate for help with Lottie, and that's what this nursery is here for. If we don't help these parents now, the behaviour that their children are exhibiting is only going to get worse.
This is the Naughty Nursery, run by child psychologist Laverne Antrobus. It aims to help parents gain control over their unruly kids.
No, stop!
This week, the nursery welcomed 3 new families, all absolutely desperate for help. At his own nursery, Kaysen has been known to hit both children and staff.
I think I'm really starting to feel that Kaysen is somebody that we need to think of as much younger than his years.
Yeah.
Just because you're 3 doesn't mean you're going to have all the skills and tools of a 3-year-old.
Kaysen's mum Sarah has brought him to the Naughty Nursery because she's worried about his violent outbursts.
He always wants one-to-one attention. And if I can't give him that one-to-one attention, that's when he'll start reacting.
Sarah and Kaysen live in Wednesbury in the West Midlands. A single parent and stay-at-home mum, Sarah spends all of her time with Kaysen.
Starts from when he gets up in the morning. Let's come and get dressed. It'll be 2 minutes. Getting him changed, that's the main key point. Hey, man, I'll give up. Oh, God. His behaviour is probably the worst when he mixes with children, especially younger children.
You dare.
Don't. I'm embarrassed to invite anybody to my house or even take him anywhere. Because what he does.
Kaysen, leave him. Kaysen, no.
He'll do exactly the same to me. He'll scream, he'll punch.
Kaysen's bad behaviour is driving Sarah to despair.
Stop it.
You just don't want to get up in the morning to listen to a 3.5-year-old that rules your life.
In the playground, Kaysen is upset because he wants to turn on the bike. But Louis isn't happy sharing. Both of the boys struggle with their anger, especially when they don't get their own way. But today, it's Kaysen who's on the attack.
Kaysen and Louis are used to getting their own way by hitting out and shouting, so they haven't learnt how to negotiate.
Louis, do you think you can return? Louis!
Jules is using the distraction technique in the hope that Kaysen will lose interest in the bike. He's clearly still frustrated about losing his turn, but the distraction has worked to defuse the situation. The bike is less appealing for Louis now, so he's happy to abandon it.
Having seen Kaysen's aggression firsthand, Jess is keen to chat to Mum Sarah.
It sounds like he gets quite frustrated and like dysregulated.
I just don't know where the anger. He'll stand there and he'll go, like, and he'll just go bright red. Then he'll just run up to you, full blown punch you.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
How often does that happen with you?
Oh, it probably happens up to 10 times a day.
What's that like for you when that happens?
Oh, it's terrible. It's just, you just look at him and you think, like, is it something I've done wrong? Do you know what I mean? It's something I'm doing. You could take him shopping because he's swearing, he's throwing things off like at the counters. People are looking and staring and thinking, oh God, like.
So many parents I talk to say it's so difficult because there's other people around and you're having to think about that dynamic as well. It's a lot to think about.
Yeah, people look at you, you can see them staring at the corner of their eye.
Enough.
And just like looking, if they say like, if you saw like the language he's using, and you're just like, oh my God, like, come on, let's just go on. Forget it, you put the basket down, you walk out the shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it's come to.
The fact that she's worried about leaving the house with him rings massive alarm bells. This is only going to get more difficult as Kaysen grows up. So we really need to give Sarah the confidence to enforce boundaries so that we can nip this in the bud.
In the classroom, teacher Jules is harnessing Louis's vocal skills with the perfect activity.
Right, find me a dinosaur and see if you can do a roar. I'm going to do a roar for this one. Ooh, that was a big roar. Can we do a little roar for this one? Because he's got a little roar. Oh, I love that little roar.
4-year-old Louis has been brought to the nursery because he constantly lashes out when he doesn't get his own way.
What about this one then?
After meeting parents Julie and Guy separately,
Hi.
Laverne now wants to confront their conflicting views on how to deal with his unpredictable behaviour.
You can get that after that.
Do you know what? You can have the ice cream, okay?
You know, you're trying to do something which I think is really, really commendable. You're trying to keep your parenting together for the children. But it's also quite difficult to do that, isn't it? This idea of Guy, you not really being able to discipline Louis because, Julie, you quite like to do that. Sometimes
He is right. Louis needs to know what he's doing is wrong. And I do believe that and I do agree that with him. But I find the way Guy tends to do it is he's got good intentions but he's doing it all the wrong way. I don't think he can deal with Louis when he's hitting me. Enough. We're not going to do this because you're hurting my mate and I don't like it. He gets
I think
really
that's quite right.
angry, but I try and stay really. I've got a lot of patience with it and I take it, but it is sorry, shouldn't be hitting me. I know that.
We do need to turn that around, don't we? Because actually, Guy's right. He shouldn't. You know, your little boy should not be hurting his mum, and he should know that Dad is going to use his physicality, and we're going to have to think about that over the next couple of days to ensure that Louis gets a very clear message about that. And you shouldn't be scared of that, because he's getting older, and I think what you don't want is for children to feel that parents can't rightfully take up the roles that you have. The other thing that's just in my mind that I just want to touch on very briefly was how, Guy, to bring you into the picture. If we're bringing you in much more to be somebody who holds boundaries and is able to sort of get a bit of control of Louis, we've also got to have the lighter bit as well. And I think we've got to play around with how he can be physical with you without taking it too far.
Yeah.
Lottie.
What do you go for?
Indoors, 3-year-old Lottie is once again causing havoc. Since she arrived, the team have been unable to take their eyes off her due to her constant climbing and unsafe behaviour.
She clearly loves being physical and moving around, and she's confident with it.
Lottie, feet on the floor. Feet.
It's almost become a bit of a game itself.
Lottie gets quite a thrill from climbing and exploring her senses in this way, but she also enjoys the reaction that adults give her.
Oh, come on, feet on the floor. Okay, if I put my feet on the floor, you put your feet on the floor?
I guess her sense of danger and understanding of risks is not quite there yet.
Yeah, I'm having to really keep that quite powerfully in my mind because, you know, she can do this so well.
Yeah.
There's part of me that thinks, wow, determination, strength. Actually, risk.
Yeah.
And it's not just Lottie's climbing that needs addressing.
It's interesting, though, how many times Lottie goes to the toilet. She's in and out of there quite a bit.
I think that she enjoys the hand dryers and the water.
She's got a way of exploring the world, hasn't she, though, which is all about touch and sensory nature, you know. As we see some of their behaviour emerge, there are adults on hand who can be really responsive and turn their behaviour around. Some of their children need a very different form of response and parenting, but it's something we need to work on with them.
This week, the Naughty Nursery welcomed 3 new children. Louis, Lottie and Kaysen. For their parents, the Naughty Nursery really is the last resort.
Lottie?
I'm worried that she's going to hurt herself one day.
They're desperately hoping psychologist Laverne and her team can help them get their children's behaviour under control.
Hello.
Hi.
After monitoring their children for a couple of days, Laverne and Jess have some feedback and new coping strategies for all the parents.
What we really want to do is help parents realise the effect that they can have on changing their children's behaviour. We're not going to be able to fix their children here and now, but hopefully we're going to be able to work with them and send them away so they've got the skills to make the changes they need to.
First up,
Get stoned.
Laverne and Jess discuss Lottie's dangerous daredevil behaviour with Mum Joanne.
For Lottie, so much of her behaviour is centred around how she makes sense of her environment through touching and feeling. It's a bit like if she's got something in her mouth, it helps her to concentrate.
Yeah. If she's opened a bottle of juice, she'll put the lid in her mouth and she'll just play with it with her tongue in her mouth. But I'm like, it's dangerous, get it out.
I think you'd probably say, OK, I think I know what you're going to want to do with that, just for a little while. I'm not going to let you do it with the top of a can,
Yeah.
but you can have this.
Yeah.
OK, Louis.
Next up, Julie and Guy, who struggle to agree on how to discipline their son Louis. He hits out at his mum when he doesn't get what he wants.
Louis does really well when he has structure. And actually, what he needs in that structure is he needs times when he can really be energetic, so that then when you need him to be more settled, he can understand there's a distinction.
I've had him out for hours playing football,
Yeah.
and as soon as we take him home, he's still hyper.
Still buzzing.
Yeah, it's just...
Yeah. But I think there's still quite a lot of attention that you need to give him, but it's a different sort of pace to the attention.
Finally, Kaysen's mum Sarah. She's hoping to discover the cause of his aggression towards her and other children.
Kaysen can find it harder to express himself with words, and it really helps him to model speech and encourage him to use his words. Some of the sources of frustration for him are because he can't express himself.
I've never looked at it like that, but like you say, he just probably doesn't know how to say what he wants.
Yeah.
So he thinks if I go at her with fists, then I'll communicate that way. Most time when he's shouting at me, I'm shouting back just to get my point across. It's like having it like, it's like an 18-year-old, not a 3-year-old. So I'm just hoping that we come to that level that we can both just sit there, I can understand what he's saying, he can talk to me calmly, and he understands that he's not got to shout and kick off.
There you go, off you go, guys.
Following on from the feedback session, Laverne has set up a sandwich making task for the children to complete, with the help of their parents.
I want to see how they've taken on board our feedback and how they use it to really help their children complete the task.
Scrape a little bit off. There you go. Try again. Let's put it on the bread.
Lottie is eating more than she's putting in her sandwich.
This feels like quite typical behaviour from Lottie, and she's seeking out a sensory experience while she's completing the task.
Do you want Mummy to cut them tomatoes?
She gets to be much more focused when she's got the tomato in her mouth. I think what Joanne needs to do is to not get caught up in what she's doing that she may be feeling is off task, but seize that focus and help Lottie get through to complete the rest of the activity.
Why did you get that from?
You pop it in the sandwich.
Shall we put it up?
Yeah.
Sick.
Because you know what it tastes like out of the sandwich, don't you?
Is that all you want to put your sandwich? Do you want to put some butter on that?
Louis is the first to finish, but his sandwich isn't to Mum Julie's taste.
What I think she needs to do is to step back and see that this is quite a creative moment for Louis, a sort of typical parent trap. She's got to know that sometimes it's good to follow your child's creativity and not necessarily enforce a boundary.
You're gluing it. Is it hot?
Things are very quiet at Kaysen and Sarah's end of the table.
Just watching Sarah and Kaysen, I'm quite worried about the communication or the lack of communication between them. What she said is that she's had so many problematic encounters with Kaysen that she doesn't quite feel as connected as she would like to be with him.
Maybe Sarah gets to put it together. It's nearly ready.
Kaysen. Kaysen.
This task has been really important and it's highlighted the areas that we still need to work on with the parents. With Julie and Guy, it's about knowing when to give Louis freedom and when to say no. For Joanne, it's about harnessing Lottie's fascination with the senses. But the biggest issue we need to tackle is the communication problem between Sarah and Kaysen.
Hi! Going in to see Debbie.
With the sandwiches eaten, Teacher Jules attempts to settle the children down for a nice afternoon story.
I think we've got Goldilocks and the Three Bears.
Can you show me your best sitting? We'll all copy Lottie's brilliant sitting.
Always Lottie's sitting.
Oh, Lottie.
But while Lottie and Louis aren't interested in sitting down, in contrast, Kaysen is listening and following instructions from Jules.
Kaysen, ready for chairs? You going to be the bear? Come on then.
We've seen Kaysen's aggressive behaviour, but we can also see from this story time that Kaysen can be calm and cooperative.
Come here. Can you see the little chair? Which one is the little chair?
That one.
Good choosing, Kaysen.
When he gets clear speech with lots of expression and hand signals, he's able to understand what's expected of him.
Who's sitting on
My
chair?
chair.
Brilliant. Ready for that? Can you do that?
Laverne and Jess want Mum Sarah to see how clear communication is transforming Kaysen's behaviour.
Who's been sitting on my chair? Can you do that? Yes, fantastic. Great job.
It's nice to say that he ain't misbehaving and he can play nice with other children.
Yeah, in a way reassuring to
Yeah.
know that it's possible.
Yeah.
And Lottie, you're going to come here and do your big bear voice. Come on, then.
I think he's having to work really, really hard, isn't he?
He's taking all of his energy and concentration.
Want to go and jump on the bear.
Yeah, he does really bad. You can tell he's itching to do something, but he's just containing himself.
I know.
Kaysen, can you put it by Lottie's chair, sweetheart? Good listening, Kaysen.
That's amazing to say.
Do you know what Daddy Bear thinks? You are absolutely...
After the observation, Jess takes the opportunity to find out more about Sarah's approach to discipline at home.
Every time I think I'm going to end up into a fist fight, I'm going to end up with the shouting, the swearing, the spitting.
Does that make you back down then, you feel?
Yeah, I just completely give up. It's exhausting. It just makes you feel mentally drained.
I'm just wondering if that feeling flat or down about it, does that get in the way of things with you and Kaysen?
It could do, yeah, because sometimes I do look at him and I do resent him for the things he's done.
Has seeing him today or thinking about things made you think that there's anything different we might need to do for Kaysen?
I'm not sure. Maybe it's working with me, with him. I just don't know what it is, whether he's just getting that negative energy off me sometimes.
Maybe we need to think about ways to bolster you up and feel better.
Yeah, you probably am right, yeah.
A big part of the problem is she's trying to do absolutely everything. She gets no time for herself, which means she's too exhausted to stand firm with Kaysen.
I'll give up.
Sarah does need to work on communication with Kaysen, but she also needs support to take time out for herself.
In the nursery, 4-year-old Louis is battling with Jules. Little does Louis know, Mum Julie is watching on.
He doesn't like letting things go.
No. You know this.
At home, Louis has a tendency to lash out when he doesn't get what he wants.
Stop.
Laverne wants to show Julie that Louis can respond to boundaries.
Where's the table? There you go. It's working fine. Put it on the table. Can you sit at the table?
You know, he's managed to follow Jules's instruction.
He's not very happy about his face, you can tell. He's thinking about it.
I know. He's thinking, what's my next move?
What would Louis' reaction normally be if something was taken away from him?
He would usually just hit me until he gets his own way. I think he knows because I'll eventually give in.
And that's maybe one of the things that we have to really strengthen in you, so that he does know that actually sometimes no really does mean no. And it shouldn't come with a protest.
As well as bolstering Mum, Laverne also wants to get Dad Guy more involved in parenting and discipline.
We've seen that Louis got quite a lot of excessive energy and that this often leads to his difficult behaviour. I think that if he spends some time burning this energy off with his dad, we really could solve 2 of his problems in one go.
Laverne's asked Jules to demonstrate some easy ways for Guy to help Louis.
So what we've got is a really easy tool that we can use in the house. So we just put Louis on, and we did quite a lot of bouncing. So he's happy, he's smiling, seeing you smiling, you get the feedback, you feel good. And afterwards, I don't know about you, Louis, but I was really tired. So have a go, Dad, and see how high you can get Louis when he's bouncing. It takes some doing. There you go. Push back and forth, Dad, compete. Oh, good.
Bouncing over, Louis seems happy to play a quiet game.
After just a little bit of that release, he's much more ready. 100% you're there.
Right here.
How about this big one?
Just seeing that, it's just lovely because you get both. You get the physicality, the sense of being with Dad, but then, quite beautifully, a bit of concentration and time when he can really settle down.
Julie and Guy are now armed with techniques for dealing with Louis' pent-up energy and aggression. They've seen how it works in the nursery and are keen to start putting them into practice.
I've learned that he needs a lot of attention. What I was doing earlier with the ball, I should have done it a bit more.
Yes.
I should have been jumping on the ball as well.
Yes. But we were all watching you.
Yeah.
So
It's a bit nervous, eh?
yeah. So you've realised that actually you doing as much as him really keeps something going and is quite a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We have talked about you two communicating much more. Yeah, that actually you need to be working together, particularly around boundaries. Yeah? Yeah? So, okay, well, good luck with it.
Thanks.
Good luck.
I've realised that he needs a lot of attention from me and not just his mum. But the thing we're doing with the ball, I'm definitely got to try that in the house.
It has brought us on the same page as parents, so it's been helpful that way.
It's been great to see Guy grow in confidence, so hopefully now he and Julie can move forward, because what they've learned is that Louis does well with firm boundaries. His behaviour has really turned around in the nursery, and there's no reason why this can't continue if Julie and Guy are consistent in their discipline and they continue to work as a team.
This week, the Naughty Nursery has been trying to turn around the lives of 3 troubled toddlers and their desperate parents. Louis, who lashed out every time he didn't get what he wanted.
We said it's everybody's...
Lottie, who had a dangerous climbing habit. And Kaysen, whose constant violence and frustration was baffling his mum Sarah.
You just look at him and you think, is it something I've done wrong?
During his stay at the nursery, staff have noticed that Kaysen struggled to communicate. And Laverne thinks that's the reason he hits out at home with Mum Sarah.
What she needs to do is see that this is how Kaysen is expressing himself, and in a way giving her the message that he needs her help, so that he can understand that actually between the two of them they can find different ways to communicate.
I guess what I've noticed is he needs a real kind of nurturing approach with an adult quite close with him to help him engage in play.
Turn me into an animal.
Darry's doing it with him, isn't he? He's putting the expression on his face as the adult. It's a shared excitement.
Yeah.
Hi, Mum. How are you? Good.
With this in mind, Laverne has asked Mum Sarah to come in and learn some simple techniques aimed at improving the way she and Kaysen communicate.
Sometimes it's really hard to get everything to come together. So the right words, the right body language, and the right facial expressions. So sometimes, in order to get those right for Kaysen, we've got to really overplay it, okay? Through really overplaying it, what we call world of face. So there are games that we can play around that to get that very face-to-face engagement. For example, we do feather face painting. Okay, you'll be delighted to know there is no mess involved at all, but you will have to take your grown-up out, put your playful side on, and just imagine, Kaysen, come here. Okay, so we're going to paint our faces today. Can you come and paint Jules's face? I would like to be a tiger. Can you put some stripes on me? Yeah. So straight away, he's getting the world of face, because I can't help with a feather on my face. Ask Mummy, what animal? Come on, Mum, what animal? Cat. Can you paint Mummy a cat? Give some whiskers.
Some ears.
Yeah,
just put
but what one is that?
Okay. So try and turn to give him that full face. And you've got your full gaze on him, Mum. And look, can you see how he's smiling? Amazing. Fantastic. And the more of this you do, you can't help but look. And the more he's looking, the more complete the message. The more complete the message, the easier it is for him to process and you get what you get.
I think Kaysen really responded to that. I really enjoyed looking at his mum's face.
It's really encouraging, isn't it?
Yeah, really encouraging. I guess what feels really important is for her to know that she is really important to Kaysen, and she is important in terms of supporting his communication.
Goldilocks can...
Before Kaysen leaves the nursery, Laverne and Jess want to know how Sarah is feeling. Now she knows the reason behind Kaysen's bad behaviour.
I thought I'd be walking out here with a different child. When we get back, we're going to have to do some hard work on his behaviour and different techniques that we've learned.
But also look after yourself as well. If we're writing a prescription pad, we're not doctors in that way, but you know, we're writing a prescription pad, it's Sarah needs to get some Sarah time.
Okay.
Because it is the only way as a parent, when you have a challenging child, that you can clear your mind.
Yeah.
To have some thoughts that are about you, so that you can then have a bit of space to think about your son.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. The one thing that I will take away from it is just to work on our relationship a bit better and just get back on track as a team. Makes me feel excited that hopefully we'll all get back on track and it's going to be a lot better than it is now.
Lottie?
Since joining the nursery, Lottie has been keeping the staff on their toes by constantly climbing.
Down.
Lottie's at an age where she's really exploring all of her senses, but the way in which she's doing it is quite difficult to observe. I think the thing that's got quite confused for Lottie is that she gets quite a lot of attention for this.
Down we come. 1, 2, 3. Good choice.
What we need to do is still give her the experience of exploration, but in a much safer way.
Laverne's asked Jules to give Joanne some ideas.
What's amazing about her is she'll try anything, she's inquisitive, and these are things that will carry her far in life. They're great skill set to have.
But give Mum a heart attack in the meantime.
100%. What you need to do is have a look at what's going on in the moment and literally do a little bit of a risk assessment and start asking yourself the question, what actually is the worst that could happen here?
But whilst Jules and Joanne chat, Lottie has been using the opportunity to do some more exploring. Luckily, it's time for Jules to demonstrate one of those safe sensory activities.
Lottie, come and see what Mummy and Jules have got. Look, come and look. What have we got?
What is that? Wow. Here we go. I can feel that. Oh.
Jelly.
Jelly.
Wibbly wobbly. Take me out.
Come on then. Right.
Yeah. I'm wondering, Lottie, if you're feeling like trying it in your totos, because that
Straight away.
good girl.
What's that?
And I honestly, I'm highly tempted. I really am. Because who's not going to feel better for that?
Is that fun? Woo!
It's incredible to watch both of them now.
I think what I want her to remember is that the touch and feel of things for Lottie is so important. She needs to keep her learning moving through those ways of being, but that actually Joanne has to be able to feel confident to set some limits, but still let her have some level of experience.
At the end of Lottie's time in the nursery, Mum Joanne is full of optimism for the future.
I'm looking at it in a whole different light.
What's the feeling now?
I've got bubbles in my belly. You know, I just can't wait to move on and move forward with her and see where we go from there.
Great.
Good for you, Jo.
At the beginning of all this, you know, I dreaded being with her. But I'm enjoying my daughter again. I can see the more positive things in her now, rather than all the negatives.
Bring it in.
We met these parents when they were at their lowest, but today we're sending them away feeling much more optimistic and confident. They finally got the knowledge and the tools to deal with their children's behaviour. They're on the right track. Let's hope they can stay there.
Say goodbye.